Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashemi Hawashai, Bahashema Kakodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, or the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who are risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by where their forefathers sees who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai. And the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Yakalio, and this video is about the mark of the beast prophecy, which is a mark chip. So in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16, it says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." So the people that are in rulership today are these so-called white people, and their true biblical heritage is that they are the Edomites. And their forefathers, Esau. They are the wicked as it pertains to the book of Malachi. It says Esau is the bird of wickedness. And for every kingdom that has existed, there has always been those that are in charge. And for Esau, we refer to them as the wicked elite of Esau Edom, who are the elite bankers. And they're the ones that are in control. Now, in the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24, it says that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So the Edomites, they are the wicked and they are in control. And their ruling class, which are the elite bankers, they're in control, right? They're in control of the money. They're in control of the media. They're in control of everything, right? This is the blessing that Esau Edom was given by our forefather Isaac. And now we're all living through this terrible time of being slaves to the wicked, who are the Edomites. So it will be them that will be causing both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, which means that it doesn't matter who you are, they intend for you to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So the mark of the beast is a mark chip. We know that at G5480, the word mark, charagma, a stamp and imprinted mark. Okay, so we know that through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemishah, it's something physical, and it is in fact the mark chip. And in verse 17, it says, "And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name." So you're going to have the mark chip in order to buy or sell. In other words, you're going to need the market chip in order to continue living life in society as we know it. And as time has gone on, with the system being implemented, we see how it's all going to be. For example, the digital identification system that is being developed by every country worldwide shows you the intended purpose, because it's a stepping stone heading towards the market chip, which is going to be an all-for-one use device. So the digital identity right now shows that they're going to consolidate every single thing about your life and yourself on it. Government services, medical services, financial services, telecommunications, e-commerce, all of these kinds of things. Everything is going to be consolidated on it. And then it's that stepping stone of getting people online onto the system. And then when they push their mark chip, which is the mark of the beast, they would have had it already ready to go to conveniently transition. Okay. So then they also have these central bank digital currencies, which this is the system that they're implementing. They call it the intelligence age, the fourth industrial revolution, where they're moving towards a completely digital system. So the financial system is going digital. And the market chip, the way it works is that it has everything stored on it, the technology itself. It's works digitally, right? And people will be market chipped, which people already are market chipped, and they go and they swipe their hand and they make payments. But it's not only going to be that. In order to gain medical services, government services, etc., people are going to have a market chip, and they're going to have to swipe that. Okay, so the entire system has to go digital to be able to facilitate the usage of the microchip, and it's a one world agenda, it's a one world goal. So they have to get the entire world onto the system needed to be able to use the microchip as they intend it to be used. Okay, so with that being said, here's this article from ledgerinsights.com. World Federation of Exchanges explores CBDC for tokenization. The World Federation of Exchanges, WFE, has published a paper exploring the potential impact of central bank digital currency on the adoption of tokenization. Now, the adoption of tokenization. What is tokenization? Adoption of tokenization. Okay, so tokenization offers potential but faces adoption challenges. While tokenization has shown promise in enhancing financial instruments, key challenges such as integrating with legacy systems, regulatory support, high switching costs, and achieving liquidity remain. Okay, so let's go down here to newslegal.co. Real world assets, a deep dive into tokenization and adoption. So we just want to understand what exactly is tokenization for the individuals who may not know. So it says here, real world assets. Actually, let me start at the top. The emergence of blockchain technology has reshaped the financial landscape, bringing new possibilities for digitizing and managing assets. Among these advancements, the tokenization of real-world assets stands out as a significant frontier, offering the promise of enhanced liquidity, efficiency, and accessibility. However, as the industry pushes forward, it faces unique challenges that must be addressed to ensure long-term adoption. What are real-world assets? The real-world assets, often abbreviated as RWAs, refer to tangible or traditional financial assets that are tokenized using blockchain technology. Unlike native digital assets like cryptocurrencies, RWAs represent equities, commodities, bonds, real estate, invoices, or even physical items like art and luxury goods. This tokenization enables these traditionally illiquid assets to be digitized, fractionalized, and traded on blockchain platforms. Okay, so basically, tokenization is allowing anything to have really a digital identity, right? So it mentioned like real estate invoices, so like a house, luxury goods, art, jewelry, all of these kinds of things. It can have a digital identity on the blockchain, and then it can be traded and sold based on that. Okay, so going back to this, so the WEF is an industry body representing the world's largest stock exchanges and clearinghouses, WFE, including central counterparties. These are amongst the organizations that will be most heavily affected by a shift to tokenization. One of its members, Switzerland's sixth digital exchange, already supports a pilot CBDC. The Swiss experience demonstrates the utility of efficient CBDCs to the success of tokenization due to the enhanced trust, liquidity, financial inclusion, and diversification associated with CBDCs, said Richard Metcalf, head of regulatory affairs of the World Federation of Exchanges. Other central banks and policymakers should take heed of this example to generate the economic growth associated with tokenization. So it mentioned CBDC because we know about CBDCs, but then they also have CBDC. So it says here, a CBDC is a digital currency issued by a central bank that is used exclusively by central banks, commercial banks, or other financial institutions to settle interbank transactions, right? Because the banks, they have two parts, right? It has that part about it where it has the interbank transactions, which is a whole system within the system of banking. And then they have the other part of the system, which is the retail part. So it says it is unlike a retail CBDC, which caters to individuals and companies and facilitates everyday transactions. So from a banking perspective, they're building a CBDC and also a CBDC. The CBDC is for all of the financial transactions between the banks and how they operate with one another. And then they're also developing the retail CBDC, which is for the customers, us, right? So going back to this, it says a WFE report last year on tokenization seemed less than keen on the topic, although this one is more balanced. Benefits of a wholesale CBDC include the ability to use central bank money as collateral and facilitate cross-border payment. And it has to facilitate cross-border payment. This is all that they're working on, okay? The system really takes some time to implement. Esau, they're not gods. They can't just snap their fingers and everything happens. This is a carnal creature, and they have been given the gift of technology, but their technology has its limits. And this is what Yahweh Shemisha has given them. So things take time. But regarding to facilitate cross-border payments, why? Because it's all a one-world system that they're developing. So the central banks have to be able to do business with one another by way of these central bank digital currencies. So they have, basically what it's just showing is that they have to build it up. That's what this article is talking about. Okay. The authors note that while CBDC support delivery versus payment, so do real-time gross settlement systems, although transactions can take from seconds to half an hour. So then it talks about CBDC challenges, which is irrelevant because the prophecy is going to be fulfilled, the mark of the beast prophecy, right? So whatever challenges they're having, they'll get past it because the prophecy has to be fulfilled. So moving on, CBDC initiatives grow globally now. We have to remember that the CBDC, as it says, is a digital currency issued by a central bank that is used exclusively by central banks to settle interbank transactions. So then it says, for CBDC, matters are moving in the right direction in many major jurisdictions. Switzerland is the first, but the EU recently announced an interim RTGS DLT payment solution to be followed by plans for a more comprehensive CBDC. So they're moving along with it. That's the point. Okay. That was in response to regulators being pleasantly surprised by the appetite from industry during last year's Eurosystem trials. In the UK, there's a private wholesale settlement institution, Finality, whose digital cash is backed by reserves held by the central bank. Finality, or Finality, is also planning to launch in the United States. And there are numerous other jurisdictions such as Brazil, Hong Kong, and the UAE working on pilots or planning launches. It's a one-world agenda. So overall, the reason why I'm bringing this out is to show that they are implementing the system to bring about the market chip, because this all of this talk and whatever else, it is just so that they can bring about the market chip. And it goes to show you how large of an undertaking this is and how many different moving parts that they have to bring online to be able to allow the market chip to be as the prophecy says, where it says no man might buy or sell unless you have the mark of the beast, which is that market chip. They really have to get everything online for it, and it starts with the banks. The banks are the very major thing because those are the financial institutions. Okay, so this is, and I want to make a point on the tokenization, because the tokenization, they've spoken about the intelligence age, fourth industrial revolution, where they want everything to go digital. So all items around us, they already have like a QR code or something like that. They want every single thing to be on a digital system. And so when trade occurs, that is all going to be done digitally on this blockchain system that they spoke about, right? Or not this here, but this here, right? The blockchain technology, okay? But overall, it really shows you that it's just not as simple as being done overnight. Esau, Edom, they have systems in place, and those systems need to change. And those systems, from observing what's going on, it's not just so simple. They have had these plans for a very long time. Decades they've been planning this. And they've had their individuals come out who are privy to such knowledge, like Klaus Schwab, who, for example, in 2016 said that everybody will be microchipped in the next 10 years. The year is now 2025. So 2026 is next year. So we shall see, you know. But many times, like with their goals, they've had to rename or rebrand the goal, and they've always had to keep pushing it further along, right? They had to keep pushing the goalpost further along. And that's because things are just not as simple as everything being done overnight, which I'm saying that because, you know, for those of us in the truth, we hope that Yahweh shall return tomorrow. We hope that, you know, the kingdom is here tomorrow. But knowing the prophecies, we know what the prophecies are. We're able to observe what's going on. And things really do take some time. We're in a transitionary period right now. And so, you know, just take a seat and watch the movie as it plays out. Okay? Because this article right here shows us where the stage that they're at regarding implementing the system, and they're moving at a good pace, I'd say, right? And they're getting there. Okay, but this mark of the beast prophecy is at hand, man, and this hour of temptation is coming. In Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So it's coming. Okay, you'll be tempted with taking the microchip or not, because everything's going to be a part of this digital system on the blockchain and everything, man. Okay. And you see this part here in the UK. There's a private wholesale settlement institution, Finality, whose digital cash is backed by reserves held at the central bank, whose digital cash is backed by reserves held at the central bank. Okay, because everything's going digital, the cash is going digital, and then it says it's plan to launch in the United States. And then look at this, March 28, 2025, blockchain payment system, Finality eyes Fed approval this year. So it really shows you how close we are. All right, America is Babylon the Great. So all eyes are on America, as well as the rest of the world, but especially America, right? Regarding how it is and where it is that the system is at, right? And regarding America, it's not so much as in your face as like China, where they're just saying, oh, straight up digital yuan, or Jamaica, digital Jamaican dollar, Jamdex, right? In America, they're implementing their digital ID in certain kinds of ways, like the cab drivers and stuff like that. And, you know, they're implementing for the airports to go fully digital in the next 3 years. And then now this whole thing of Finality, whose cash is backed by a digital system that's they're waiting for it to be approved by the feds. It really just shows you the times that we're in. All right. But that's it. There's a judgment for receiving the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, and that is going to be death by way of thermonuclear fire, and salvation is only for the Israelites. Okay, look at this right here, need for speed, right? And that's another thing. In Revelation 12 verse 12, it says the devil comes with great wrath because he knows that he has but a short time, right? And Esau, Edom, as I mentioned before, you know, they've had their plans. They want this for decades. They've been planning these plans, and they have it envisioned, and they're working on it. But I suspect, speaking as a man, that things that used to work the way that they used to work for them, it's not working as perfectly as it used to. You know what I'm saying? Because they're losing power. And so that's why this devil is going to have to come with great wrath, and that's why he's going to have to push through in a very violent way and a very chaotic way, which is a part of their agenda, you know, order out of chaos. But they know it's going to have to get there because, you know, the system at hand is taking some time, and they want it. They really want it to happen. They want it to go as soon as possible, I'm sure. So, yeah, man, you can even see left-hand symbolism with this image right here. So anyway, with that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishah, Bashim Kodesh. Shalom.